So today I'm taking some shit because the boss doesn't want to be on the video. Now this wine took a whopping 117 days till I could finally get it into bottle. I'm not sure why it took so long to clear. Maybe it was a combination of Pectic haze, or I've heard mango can be notorious for this. But anyway, here she goes. The fruits, I took them, put them all in the freezer, and the ones that I had fresh and the ones that I didn't have fresh, I just bought frozen fruit. And the good perk of that is freezing and thawing fruits seems to really help break them down. To mix up the sugar for this thing, I actually just took boiling water and mixed it right in the primary, and that seemed to work out pretty well for me. It's a little stubborn at first, becomes kind of syrupy, but it doesn't take long. I think I used 2 kettles worth of water to get it mixed right up. I did my best mashing up the fruit, although the mango ends up being super slippery, so it ends up being a little tricky to mash. Then after that, everything is just going to get dumped into the primary fermenter, all the different ingredients that I had listed at the start there. And we'll give everything a good stir, top it all up. As you can see, the Life Boss is actually giving me a hand with this, even though she is reluctant to get on camera for whatever reason. Most of the stuff seemed to be a little bit stubborn when I was stirring it in, but kind of just be persistent and get it cleaned up. Don't forget to take your hydrometer reading and record that so we know kind of our sugar content and stuff for later on. Now I forgot to video me putting in the yeast here, but there is nothing fancy to it. Just pull off the lid and first give it a stir, and then sprinkle the yeast on top, put the lid back on, and that'll get your primary going. Make sure you wait to day 2 for that, just so those Camden tablets have lost their effective sterilization, so that gives that yeast a fair chance to get going. Now every day when you're taking a look at your fruit, it's all going to rise to the top. You're going to need to punch this down. This is a daily occurrence in primary, so this one does require a little bit more effort that way. And I learned a hard lesson on this one. When you're punching down the fruit cap and primary has just started, don't underestimate how much carbon dioxide is going to come off of that. I did manage to keep everything in the pail, but it gets dangerously close to overflowing everywhere. I should have just been a little bit more gentle with this step. After day 10, this thing was just about done. There was almost no activity in the bubbler anymore, so I figured it was time to take and separate this stuff off and add my bentonite in. I'm going to take all the fruit out of there. I don't want it to get rancid or nasty. Everything still looks good. It looks very healthy. To separate it off, I just took a paint strainer bag and I siphoned as much as I could and poured the rest of the fruit to get as much of the juice goodness as I could into the other pail, and that's what I'm going to end up racking off with. The strainer bags actually kind of clamp nicely into a 5-gallon pail too, which is a beauty. Chuck the bentonite in, and don't forget to get another hydrometer reading here so that we know kind of where we're at. So this is day 22 after our fermentation is going, and it's starting to clear up pretty good. Most of the sediment and stuff has fallen out of the solution. So at this point in time, I've got about an inch kind of settled at the bottom of the carboy. I'm just going to rack it off and I guess try to leave as much of the schmutz behind as I can. I think I did a pretty good job, and I didn't waste a whole heck of a lot of wine. So it's looking pretty good for day 22 right now. I'm pretty happy with it. Side by side with another wine that I've got going, that's a kit wine, which is a whole heck of a lot cleaner than this one. So day 29 fermentation is totally done. It's time to just stabilize this out. So I'm going to add my Camden tablets and my potassium sorbate and give this thing a stir. And that's it for today. So now on day number 32, I learned something different on this one. So 992 grams. It's about 200 grams in a cup. So we're going to add 6 cups of sugar. Sorry, that's wrong. 5 cups of sugar. And I'm going to put that without making a simple syrup because I don't know how much fluid that is. And because I'm using a calculator, I'm comfortable with that getting me the sweetness I am after. I'm going to take and actually back sweeten this based on a calculation of the specific gravity on an app. And a sweetness that I know what we like is 1.012 specific gravity. And after I've got the sugar in there and it's sweetened, I add my Yeast salt, give it a good stir, wait about 5-10 minutes, and then add the Cheeto sand. So on to day 58, this thing was just stubborn and would not clear. Most of the time after the Cheeto sand and the Yeast salt goes in, it takes like 2-3 days. You get the sediment, it all falls out of solution, and your wine is totally clear. After a ton of reading on different forums, specifically Reddit, this was one of the kind of suggestions there for clearing a mango-based wine, was to add a tablespoon of pectic enzyme. So I did have some sediment, so I did decide to rack it off anyway. And I took a cup worth of wine, mixed in a tablespoon of pectic enzyme, stirred that in and diluted it as best I could. And then I mixed that into the carboy. At this point, then I left it alone till day 88. And you can see it's cleared off pretty good. Again, there's some sediment on the bottom. So I'm kind of wondering at this point in time if I'm going to just end up bottling it like this, because it is pretty close to clear. Then I remember the old adage of patience, so I just racked it and at this point left it alone again for a while. I left this thing alone, if you can believe this. I managed to pull off a day 115 of leaving it alone. And it's getting pretty good. I'm pretty surprised actually, but just leaving it alone has cleared it a long way. It's looking pretty good. There's a little bit of sediment kind of on the bottom, and that's, I guess, just enough to make it hazy before. After racking, I took a good solid look at it. This is the same day, and I'm pretty happy with where it is right now. So I decided I'm going to give it 2 days, and then I'm just going to go ahead and bottle it and kind of taste it and see where we're at. Now, with any of the wines I'm making, I do decide just to bottle everything. I've had good wines, or I've heard from other people that are winemakers that some of the best wines you make will not taste good when they're green. They'll only taste good after they've had a chance to get some age. So I've decided to bottle everything, and if I don't like it, I'm not going to force myself to drink it. I'm just going to end up pouring it out. This wine, I think, is going to end up turning out good, but I honestly really don't know. So today I'm taking some shit because the boss doesn't want to be on the video. Getting the good old classic head shake. Anyway, let's give this wine a little tasting. Gotta say right now, the smell of it, I'm a little scared to try it. It smells like something's a little off, but here she goes. I don't know, something tastes a little off. Not a fan right now. I did bottle everything. We're going to put it into aging and we'll see how it turns out. But as of right now, it looks great. But maybe fruits just have that flavor to them. because I'm not used to or very used to drinking fruit wine, so that could be a possibility. It's not like it's bad or tastes like it's spoiled or anything like that. Just not a fan. So far, not a win on this one. I will keep you guys posted after it's got some age on it, and I'll put a video on the side or somewhere else on the channel. You know, that kind of reminds me, I haven't tried the watermelon wine in a while. So let's give that one a shot and see if this thing has progressed at all. So this is the watermelon fill wine after I think about 3 months of age. Anyway, I'll post it over here when I figured out. Well, it's actually dramatically changed. That might actually be drinkable right now. It's definitely progressed. I would classify it as drinkable at this point in time. Definitely not fail anymore, so that's a perk. Still not one that I would go out of my way to make, and maybe more age will change that. We'll keep you guys up to date.